itself is an engineering marvel. While there were a few scenarios considered for constructing a permanent Martian settlement, including an underground habitat, it was the most familiar and time-worn that was chosen for the 23rd century colony.
Domes are ideal structures for extreme environments, say the desert or particularly Mars. The reason is the dome creates the largest environment in enclosed space with a minimum amount of structure and mass, which is very important. Also, they're very, very strong.
The base is more like a metropolis, a series of smaller domes rotating out from one central dominant hub, like the spokes on a wagon wheel.
I love the idea of one large dome being the central plaza, the central place, the place to be at, surrounded by smaller domes.
This high-tech oasis in the middle of the Martian desert is built like a fortress.
The material we use has to be able to withstand the cold and also the radiation. The surface of Mars gets sterilized, bleached by harsh sunlight because Mars has no protective ozone layer. Certain kinds of fiberglass and plexiglass materials would have to be reinforced. Reinforcement bars placed within the glass in order to get a structure that is structurally strong enough to withstand the enormous strains and plunging temperatures on the red planet.
Temperature and pressure within the dome have to be strictly regulated. If it gets too warm, the expanding air pressure within the habitat will cause it to explode like an overinflated hot air balloon. But so far, the dome has done its job of protecting the ever-expanding band of pioneering Earthlings. Despite the grand scale of the dome, our colonists awake each morning.
This is what the inside of a Martian colony could look like. As you can see, not very luxurious, but reasonably comfortable. They'd likely be sleeping compartments and all the basics, including at least one bathroom, a kitchen, and main living and working spaces. At first, they'd be very little in the way of recreation. Things like swimming pools and bowling alleys would come later to the red planet.
To make this alien world feel more like home, our travelers have brought with them artificial ecosystems. But the plants aren't there purely for comfort. They serve a vital function in creating and sustaining a closed environment for the habitat.
We're going to be growing more than food on Mars. We are getting the oxygen we need from the plants. The plants will be getting the carbon dioxide they need. It's a beautiful synergy between humans and plants in that regard.
That symbiotic relationship is reflected in every aspect of life on Mars. Like an aquarium on Earth, every resource is recycled, nothing is wasted.
We can think of an aquarium with fish and algae growing in it. And if you could seal that off, you could get a nice food waste cycle
converting wastes to renewable resources. That's what carbon dioxide and oxygen are. And also the nutrition. The fish eat the algae, they excrete solid wastes, and these degrade from bacteria in the water, and those become nutrients for the algae to take up again.
Unlike an aquarium, we're not going to be able to keep importing fresh supplies of seawater, fresh supplies of air. Our space-dwelling descendants are going to have mastered the art of self-contained environments, ecological life support cycles that recycle all the water, recycle all the air. If they do it well, they should be just as happy as the fish in a tank.
The concept was put to the test in the desert outside of Tucson, Arizona, in a facility called Biosphere 2. Its original purpose, among other things, was as a trial run for a self-sustaining colony on another planet.
Biosphere 2 is a large, environmentally controlled facility that can be completely closed and sealed from the outside environment. And the inside environment can be completely manipulated so that different climate regimes and different biomes can be controlled within the facility.
This ambitious project was put to the test with its first sealed mission in 1991, but it soon ran into serious problems. At one point, the crew began exhibiting recklessly impaired judgment and even split into rival factions. The entire mission was in jeopardy, until it was discovered that a lack of oxygen was the trigger for the crew's belligerent behavior. It was eventually traced back to a seemingly insignificant detail. The cement inside the structure hadn't been allowed to cure properly. As a result, the cement structure was absorbing far more oxygen than plants could replenish. This drawdown of breathable air reached levels equivalent to those found at an altitude of 18,000 feet. Similar effects are endured by mountain climbers at lethal heights. Eventually, fresh air had to be injected into Biosphere. No such aid is available for our intrepid Martian colony, where a small oversight like failing to cure cement would prove fatal. Despite its inherent dangers, the closed environment of the dome is the safest place to be on Mars.